Okay. Well, ooh, just getting over a little bit of a cold. Anyway, feeling much better. And yeah, sitting down, figured I would just, I don't know if this is actually gonna come out, if I'll use this. Maybe this is just for myself, I'm not sure. But I'm on the rooftop in our Airbnb. I don't even know what this town is called, actually. It's just outside of Seville in southern Spain. And we're wrapping up a 3-week trip, basically, me and the fam. We've been on the road here for, 3 weeks. Started in Calgary for a few days to see Jared and Dana, Lisa's brother, out there. Originally went out there for a marathon that I did not end up running. That's a whole nother story. Maybe I'll save that for something else. But Calgary for a few days. That was super nice. And then we jumped from Calgary to Spain. Started in Barcelona to start the trip off. And then after a few days in Barcelona, we came down to Seville, proper Seville, like downtown, and in a really cool Airbnb there. And then we spent most of the time, we rented a car and we drove to the coast from Seville, which is like a 3-hour drive, to this little town called Nerja. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm guessing it's more like Neria or Nera. Probably should have just checked that, but spent most of the time there, like a good, I think 8 days or so, last 8 days. And then today we drove here, and we're going to return the rental car tomorrow in downtown Seville, take a train back to Barcelona, where we will spend the final night. And tomorrow, well, not tomorrow, I guess the day after tomorrow, we fly back home to Vancouver. I guess this is like a Spain recap. Again, I haven't prepped anything for this. Oh, got some bells going off. Haven't prepped any thoughts on this, so I don't know if this will be usable, but I guess we're just going raw off the cuff here. Try to think of a format here for the episode, I guess, or to recap. There was a lot to it. This was quite a trip. It's a longer one than Lisa and I have done typically in the past. I guess we've done a few weeks here and there in Europe before, but neither of us have been to Spain before, so this was kind of like a totally different vibe for us, and it was a hot trip. We haven't really done like hot destinations so much together yet, so a couple new elements to this one, which was really cool. I'd say like even before we left, kind of coming here, we had a few friends. I feel like it was a few different friends tell us that they had interesting experiences in Barcelona. One was mugged, and I forget what the other person said, but something just that it was, I don't know, in some way sketchy, or that they had a interesting encounter or something along those lines. I'm forgetting the details, but it came from a few different people. And so we kind of went into Barcelona feeling a little bit nervous, and just Spain in general felt a little bit nervous about. But I would say it was totally the opposite. Coming here, and then especially starting in Barcelona, we were like blown away by how friendly people were, and how beautiful the city is, and how clean it is. We had so much amazing food, and we loved our time in Barcelona. I feel like we're total city people. We love big city culture and that kind of vibe, and having great places to eat around, and big parks to walk through and visit, and cool architecture to look at. And Barcelona had all of that. Like, it had so much cool stuff to do. I feel like we should have spent more there. I think Lisa and I are both on the same page that if we were to do this again, we would spend more time in Barcelona. But anyways, so yeah, we went into it a little bit like nervous, I guess. And I think, our parents even warned us a little bit too, like, oh, be careful. Like, you don't want to, just be careful, like keep your wits about you, and, know where your stuff is and all that stuff. And it was like, that was just so not prevalent to us, or it just didn't get that vibe at all. Like, nothing but good things to say about Barcelona. So yeah, I think it was also part of the area that we stayed in. Maybe I can put something up here for where we stayed. Forget the exact district, but would highly recommend. And I'll say too, like, this was our first big trip with Meyer. He's 7 months now. So that's a whole nother element to this trip that I'll have to get into at some point here too. But yeah, he was amazing. He's been such a trooper on this trip. I think it's a phenomenal experience for him, whether he understands where he is or not. Obviously, probably not. But he tried some cool foods. He saw some cool things. He had some naps in some crazy old palaces. I mean, had his diaper changed in some royal gardens. So I think he had a pretty good time. Whether he will understand and appreciate that in the future, we'll see. But I think these experiences help shape him and help shape his mindset. And even if it's just subconscious at this point, and I'm sure it plays in somehow in some way. So I'm so glad that we were able to do that with him and have this experience for us, but for him too. But yeah, going back to my main point here with bringing Meyer and having a 7-month-year-old and visiting Barcelona specifically, starting there, we just noticed that it's so like friendly to families and to kids, like to babies and kids, I guess. It just feels very family orientated to me, more so like noticeably more so than Vancouver. Like when we went to restaurants, staff were doing everything they could to accommodate the stroller and to help entertain him and say hi to him and tickle his feet or whatever. Like it was just so noticeable that they would pay attention to him, and I feel like we got special treatment all over the place because of him, which was really cool. Hopefully the audio is not too windy. Sorry if it is. So that was really cool. And yeah, just really impressed, like really kind of welcoming and inviting with Meyer and having him be a part of that. So that was super cool. Love how family orientated this place was. And that was throughout Spain, but just really noticeable in Barcelona specifically. Like that just made me like feel like, oh, I could live here. Like I could be here longer, I guess. So that was really, really cool. Like some people even asked to hold him. Lots of people are touchers. They wanted to touch his face or squeeze his cheek or whatever, try to make him laugh. Like that was super, super cool. So again, I feel like we just got special treatment all over the place because of Meyer. So that was amazing. So yeah, nothing but good things to say about Barcelona. We spent a few days there, I think 2 nights, kind of got our bearings with the jet lag and whatnot. And then we hopped on a train, which we actually missed our train. We did not time it right, or we also tried to get an Uber, like their version of Uber, which is I called Cabify. And we ordered one that, it was a bigger car because we had a lot of luggage, and I guess we didn't request that it had the car seat, and then they could not take us because we did not have the car seat. So learned a lesson on that one. So we ended up having to, let that Uber go and get the next one, which caused a time delay, and then we didn't get to the station on time and we missed our train. But again, when we got to the train station, we dealt with customer service there. They saw that we had the kid and kind of asked, well, what happened? Like, why'd you guys miss it? And explain the situation. And they were just like, again, just going above and beyond and helping us. And they got us on the next train that ended up connecting through Madrid instead of being direct, but at least we could still get there the same day. So we got our train over to Madrid, and then Madrid had a connection down to Seville. So we did make it on day 3 down south, which was cool. But yeah, we got into our Airbnb there in Seville, and getting into Seville, first off, I think it was like 41 or 42 degrees when we got there. So it was like stepping out of the train was just like a wall of heat. Like just, yeah, I haven't been in 40-degree weather in a very long time. I feel like the only time maybe that was 40 was in Vegas one year, long time ago. But anyways, it was very, very hot. And then especially like, it doesn't matter for me and for Lisa, like we're fine, at the end of the day. But for Meyer, obviously, we were a little bit concerned and just making sure that, okay, like he really can't be in the sun during the day or like having much skin contact with the sun. So we've got to be careful of that. Also just him overheating, we're concerned about that. So, it was added a little bit of an extra element of, okay, we've got to be careful here and be strategic and well planned with timing and stuff to get to the taxi, to the hotel or to the Airbnb, and just getting around places, and when we chose to go out during the day, which would be more early mornings and later in the evenings and stuff. So, yeah, it was kind of a different challenge. But anyways, we got to Seville. It was hot. We We got out to the cab, got to the Airbnb. The Airbnb was so cool. We picked a really cool spot. Lisa, props to her for finding most of the Airbnbs and actually planning most of this trip, to be honest. Shout out to her. But yeah, the Airbnb was super cool. It was like in this, like, I think it was like a 14th century palace turned into apartments, which was amazing. So really cool. Couple small things about the Airbnb that we thought in our review of it that it could have been a little bit more comfy. Just things like pillows and blinds not working and little ants in the kitchen stuff, if I'm being picky. But totally small things and totally worked out totally fine. And yeah, it was a great stay. And Meyer was adjusting well to the timing and stuff of sleep and whatnot, so we're thankful for that. And he was sleeping really good on the go too. Like he would just fall asleep in the carrier. So that was really helpful for us as well, to be able to kind of still go around and do things during the day and whatnot. Like one day, again, because it was so hot, we went to the aquarium, which was really cool. Great way to beat the heat, and just cool for, I think it was Meyer's first experience at aquarium. Seeing, the sea turtles and the fish and the big sharks and things like that. So just seeing his big eyes light up and seeing those things was really cool. And Seville itself was just beautiful. It was like really like, just like I've been to Europe before and other parts of Europe, and honestly mostly Germany and Austria. So this just felt really different than that. It was, I don't know, hard to describe, but it had more of a different architectural style. You just felt more history. It was like, it felt more dated to me and more like there was more history to it, I guess. And so that was really cool. It was just like really cool to see a different side of Europe that I hadn't really experienced or seen before. Really beautiful. And I think a highlight for sure in Seville was, the first night even, just we went out for a dinner. We found a spot that was literally almost right outside the Airbnb where we were staying. And it was like, I think we paid like 28 euros for the dinner, and we had like 5 or 6 different tapas. We both had a drink, unlimited bread. So Meyer was feasting on some of the bread himself too. And 28 euros, like you can't go wrong. And it was like a 5-minute walk, not even. So that was really cool. That was the first night. And then we kind of kept Meyer up a little bit later that night, and we went out for ice cream after that. And I think he tried some of his first ice cream that night as well. It's all over his face. He's trying to get at it, and he's going nuts for it. So that was super cool as well. And so that was like the first night in Seville. So that was just like, big smiles on our face. We're happy, like we made it. And we just had a beautiful dinner, checked into the Airbnb, had an ice cream. There's people all over the streets. You could just feel the energy, and like there was just so much life happening there. I think it was kind of leading into a weekend, so that was probably why too. But it just seems like it was a place where people go, whether abroad, like in other parts of Europe, coming to Seville, or other people from different parts of Spain coming to Seville too. It just felt like the place to be. Like, it just felt like a real energy and youthful vibe, I guess, in the city. Yet amongst the backdrop of just this super old historic town. So really cool, and tons of great coffee shops everywhere. And the food was good. So I guess, the other thing I wanted to say about Seville, another highlight was definitely going to the Royal Alcazar. I think I'm pronouncing that right. That was really cool. It was a beautiful old palace. I'm not going to get the information right about this, but it's the oldest European palace still in use, I believe, by the royal family. And I'm not going to butcher the other facts. It was amazing. We went in, we had pre-bought these tickets. Again, shout out Lisa. Pre-bought these tickets and booked it and made it happen. We went for the visit, toured around the whole thing. We walked around all the inside and looked around, and then we went into the back gardens, which you don't even kind of see when you first get in there, and then you realize that there's this like garden in the back, and you kind of go in there, and then you go through another little gate, and then you realize it's like it goes on forever. Like it's just this massive grounds. So it was crazy beautiful, like just epic. So we spent quite a long time in there. Meyer had a nap during that tour in the stroller, and he also had his diaper changed in the Royal Gardens there, as I alluded to before. So yeah, he had a great time, and it was a little bit like, I guess it was hot that day, but maybe a little bit less than the previous day, so it wasn't too bad to be kind of out and about in the middle of the day and just try to find shade at all times and good sunscreen for him and things like that. So yeah, that was definitely a highlight of Seville. And then yeah, we had a few days in Seville, and then it was off to the coast. So we rented a car. We road tripped down to the coast, a little town called Nerja, and that was actually on my birthday. So on June 2nd, we drove over to Seville. I was honestly in a bit of a mood that day. I don't know. I think it was just like the sickness hitting me, the tiredness. Yeah, I don't know why I'm throwing that detail in, but just to be real and honest about it, I was in a bit of a mood that day. It was my birthday. I don't know, birthday blues, something like that. So anyways, checked that off by the end of the day, and we ended up getting to the Airbnb. That was also a really nice Airbnb. Had a great pool and a great like grounds that you could just like chill on, like nice grass, and overlooked right on the ocean basically. So that was super beautiful. Felt good about where we were staying, so that was good to get settled, and then went out for a little dinner, and ended up actually just getting some like Italian food there and bringing it back to the Airbnb and eating at the Airbnb once Meyer went down for sleeping that night. So nice to have just a bit of time for Lisa and I to hang out on my birthday and have a nice dinner and just chat and hang. So good start to the week on the coast. But yeah, I guess I'm not going to try to give a recap on every single day. I feel like I'm going into way too much detail, and this is going to be a massively long episode here. And give me a second. So yeah. Not going to go detail about every day, but I'd say overall thoughts on Nerja was like, the beaches were beautiful. Being on the beach was really, really beautiful. The ocean, like super crystal clear waters, amazing for swimming. I got into the water every few minutes. It was not too hot, but like quite hot. So like 30-ish degrees, and mostly sun all day, every day. So that's what we wanted. I mean, that was beautiful, and it was manageable. Like you could stay in the shade, you could have a beach umbrella up and put Meyer under that and dip him in the ocean a few times, and you're fine. You don't have to worry about overheating. But yeah, the waters were just perfect for swimming. So that was amazing. Overall, I would say the food was definitely lacking in Nerja. There was one restaurant in particular, which was actually in this little town called, I'm going to butcher the name, but Frigiliana? It was actually just up the road from where we were staying, like from Nerja. It was kind of like up across the highway, like up a bit, overlooking the coast and like the mountainside basically. That was one of the best dinners too. And we had this, like, we started with like a cold glass of rosé and then just had 5 or 6 different tapas again, and that was amazing. Like that was the highlight dinner for sure on the coast. But the rest of the dinners that we tried to do kind of in town, it was just very touristy and like foods that, I don't know, just it wasn't it. We had a hard time finding good food from restaurants there in town. So we ended up actually cooking ourselves a few times too, and I feel like that was the best way to do it. Just there was a full kitchen in the Airbnb, so we cooked a few times, and that was great. You could buy super cheap beer and just have some beers at the place and that kind of thing. Or we'd go out for a beer, and you can't really mess beer up, so you know, have a beer and a little aperitivo or something like that, and then have dinners at home and things like that. So that was totally fine. But yeah, otherwise, just a lot of tourists in town, so it just felt like it was really busy some days, and walking through town and stuff, you can just kind of feel it's the typical like tourist sort of vibe, and the shops that are there. So not as like authentic, I guess, of a Spain experience as what I would maybe want on a coast, but I'm being nitpicky, and I'm kind of, I mean, I'm being honest, I'm being real. You know, I don't know if there's towns out there on the coast that are like super authentic still and really like, yeah, authentic food and things like that. Like maybe that exists, and I'm sure it does. That would be cool. But Nerja is definitely, I think it's a popular spot where people come from all over Europe, and they, you know, they come for the beaches, they come for that experience, and that's cool. And we had a great time. There was things that we loved about it for sure. Like I said, the beaches, where we were staying was amazing, all that stuff. So great experience. Glad we did it, and glad we saw it, and and just experienced it for ourselves. So that was cool. One other thing I'll touch on was we did a day trip down to, because we had the car, so we actually day tripped down to Malaga. We actually liked it so much the first time we went a second time on yesterday, actually the second last day that we were there. And yeah, it was just amazing. What a beautiful historic city. And we had lined up a kind of like a belated birthday lunch there, basically, at this like Michelin recommended restaurant, which was probably the best meal of the trip. I don't know. We have another reservation tomorrow back in Barcelona when we get there, so we'll see. And the first night in Barcelona, there was a really good dinner as well. So there was a couple of really good dinners in this trip, but one of them was definitely, in Malaga. This lunch that we had at this place. Maybe I'll put the link or the name of it up here or something. But amazing foods that we had. And Malaga in general. We didn't have a ton of time there, but we kind of just walked around and took in some of the greenery, so much green space and big gardens and things like that. So just a beautiful city, and I think it's one of the oldest cities in Europe. So super cool just to kind of see again the different architecture style and really unique vibe of like it's on the beach, but it's this big city, and it had a couple different styles and elements to it, which was made it really, really interesting. So we loved it. I think again we talked to ourselves and we said I think we just really love big cities and big city life and that kind of thing. So kind of a topic of conversation as we think about where in life we go next, and if we move away from where we are now to something bigger, like where would that be and what would we want? And, kind of brings up those kinds of conversations. Like we do really enjoy the city life and that kind of thing. So crazy. I can see this huge like wall of rain coming this way. I think we haven't had any rain on this trip, but I think tonight might be the first time, on our second last night. So let's see. Probably got to go inside pretty soon here. So I'll try to wrap it up. I think it's already been way too long, but, there's been a lot to this trip, and I think I'm scratching the surface. I feel like I'm scratching the surface on it, but it's been an amazing time. I think we're both feeling very ready to be home again, to find our routine again, to get back to our own eating and diets again, and our own bed and that kind of stuff. And for Meyer to also be back in his routine and stuff too. I feel like we're missing that, and we're ready to get back to that. And I've been thinking about work too, not in a stressful way, but just feeling ready to get back to that as well, and kind of pick up where I left things off there with the different things I'm involved in. So I'm excited for that, and maybe I'll make another episode talking about what those things are. Let's see. But I think we're feeling ready to go back, and like we've had a really good kind of different experience here, and a good pattern interrupt in our life just to try something new and challenge ourselves in a different way and create some memories and experiences for ourselves and for Meyer. So I guess that's pretty much it. Spain has been a hell of a time. We loved it. Glad we made it happen. And I feel like there's a million other things I could still talk about, especially even just like the traveling with a kid part. I feel like I scratched the surface on that, but that was a whole thing about this trip. But maybe that's another video or something like that. Again, Meyer was a trooper. He was amazing. He did really, really well, but it also is a very different experience traveling with a 7-month-old and a child than it was in our previous years of traveling together. So epic challenge, and I think really, really cool to try something new like that. And I think Lisa handled it extremely well, and I feel like we both had our challenging moments and frustrations with it, but at the same time I feel like it went better than we expected. Because I think we hear a lot of horror stories about trying to do these kinds of things with young kids, and every kid's different too. But it can be super, super difficult. But I felt like this wasn't that bad. Let's see. I'll wrap it there. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Hope this was interesting. A raw, unscripted, fast little take here on our 3 weeks in Spain. that's it. Hope you guys are having a good one, and we'll see you soon. Peace.